Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on Medicare claiming in Halaxy. Tricia, fantastic to see you already. Good afternoon. I would love to be able to pronounce Yapoon. Hopefully I got that right, but it's great to see you here. So please, by all means, everybody say hello to each other. We'll wait a minute or two just for more people to come in. We'll give everyone a chance just to come to the webinar. But fantastic to be here. We have our whole team on board as usual, and I'll go through some introductions shortly as well. Okay, we'll wait one more minute and we'll see who else is in here. Fantastic. Looks like we're building up at the moment. We have a handful of practitioners and administrators. Fantastic. If you'd like to introduce yourselves and what profession you're in and where you're located, we can build up a bit of a community feel during this webinar as well. Hi, Ruth. Great to hear from you. Maureen, fantastic. Brilliant. Administrator, okay, hopefully we'll have some great tips for you today. And please also just ask any questions as we go through as well. Hi, Kate. Hi, Warren. Hi, Lisa. We have everyone from all over at the moment. That's fantastic. Hi, Kerry. Great to hear from you. Bookkeeper, learning for reconciling purposes. That's brilliant. So we'll be going through the reporting functionality for Medicare claims as well during this webinar. That'll be towards the end, so stay tuned for that. That should help with reconciling claims that have processed and claims that haven't. Hi, Ruth. So you're a counsellor on Zoom in Tasmania. Fantastic. Kasale, fantastic to hear from you from Sydney. We have Lisa from Melbourne, Kate from Malden, Victoria. Fantastic. Okay, I think we'll kick off. We'll give it 30 more seconds. Just give everyone a chance to come in because it is only the webinar has only just started now. So 30 more seconds, and then we'll get into it. Brilliant to see so many people here today. It's fantastic. Okay, so let's get started. Also, while we're waiting, hi Nicole, fantastic. COVID free over in Armidale. Can you visit? We also have a poll. So if everyone has a look at their screen, there's a poll section. And what would be helpful for this webinar would be if you can fill in the poll whether you have processed Medicare claims through Halaxy before. There's three options. One is that you've never processed a claim through Halaxy before. The other is yes, but not too many times, or there's been some problems. And the third is that, yes, you regularly process Medicare claims with Halaxy. So if you just have a look, you should see there's a poll section within your screen there. And that will just be helpful for directing how I explain some things today as well. Have a look, go for, I'll click that, there we go, and hang on. There we go. So that's active now. So you should see the polls there. Hi, Sean. Hi, Meredith. Great to see everyone saying hello to each other as well. Fantastic. Okay. All right. Well, let's get it started on this end. Much further ado here. So, all right, everybody. I think we're all in and we're all ready to go. So, what I'll do is I'll just get the right screen showing now, just initially, and we can get started. We don't want to show just that. Here we go. Fantastic. Okay, everybody, we're going to kick off. Brilliant to see everyone here. Hi, Emma. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Nicole. Nicole, I'll try and do my best with the voice as well so everybody can hear too. So, welcome to today's webinar on Medicare claiming. Now, Medicare claiming is a great strength of Halaxy's. And for any people or anyone that's within the webinar that's used it before, hopefully you see the great benefit that you can gain from automating a lot of your Medicare processing, right from the creating the invoice to processing the claim to receiving your payment. And we'll go through all of this and more today. So specifically, what we'll be doing and what I'll be providing is an expert guided walkthrough and all things Medicare, Medicare claims processing. So that's bulk bills, bulk bill processing and patient rebates. Secondly, we'll talk about tips on how to best simplify your Medicare processing. And parts of that will involve troubleshooting, ways you can cancel, reset, edit and resubmit your claims through Halaxy. And then finally, understanding Medicare payment reports. Now, as we've already seen, everyone is chatting in the chat window. We also have a Q&A section within this webinar. So you'll see there should be a button just down below your page there where you can change from chat to Q&A. So if you select that, our team will be able to respond to you during the webinar, and I'll be looking at that as well. So we'll try and answer it during the webinar too. So with you today, my name is Michael. I'll be hosting the webinar. I'm also here with my colleagues Isabella, Kira, Gary, and Key. And Isabella, Kira, Gary, and Key will be answering your questions through the Q&A window. So we have everyone on board here to help you with getting the most out of your Medicare claiming within your Halaxy accounts. Just a couple of other housekeeping points. If you do have connection issues, just click on reconnect within your webinar, within the screen here, and you should be able to hopefully get a better connection coming through. So what we'll do is now we'll log into an example Halaxy account, and from here I'll be able to start walking us through all things Medicare and Medicare claiming. So once I get the screen up now, can I just have a raise of hands or a few people just to let me know whether you can see the Halaxy calendar? So in the chat window, if you could just let me know, that'd be fantastic. Then we all know we can see the correct screen, which is the Halaxy chat calendar. And if you are having any troubles with the connection, just by all means try and reconnect or just double check your internet settings as well. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Suzanne, Maureen. Appreciate it. Okay, so we have the screen showing here, and the results of the poll so far. It looks like overwhelmingly most of people who are within this webinar right now, participants, we are seeing that 72% have never processed claims through Medicare, processed Medicare claims through Halaxy before. So that's all fantastic. What I'll do is for this webinar, I'll be starting from the start, walking you through every step as to how to get up and running with your Medicare claims. Okay, so we're now within your Halaxy calendar, which is essentially your Halaxy home screen. And what we're going to assume, or what I'm going to assume, is that you haven't actually applied for, you haven't processed any Medicare claims before. So if we were starting off to begin processing claims with Medicare, first we need to notify Medicare. So you'd need to notify Medicare that you're going to be claiming Medicare claims through Halaxy. And the way to do that is really straightforward once you know what to do, and I'll show you now. So essentially, you click the settings option within your Halaxy account, scroll down and select users. So make sure you click users under settings. So we're in the menu section, click settings and then click users. You'll then see a range of accounts, or it might just be your account. So it'll be any account that's associated with your practice within Halaxy. And what we want to do is you want to find your name, scroll to the right, and then from here, you should actually see that there's a Medicare ID column. So here you'll see there's a Medicare ID column at the top of the window here, the section. Underneath that, you'll see there's a CLK number. And if you don't have a CLK number that's showing within your user row, please contact us and we can enable that for you. But on the most part, you should have a CLK number here. And then you'll see there's actually an icon. So there's a piece of paper that's in an icon form. And what you want to do is actually click this. And when you click it, you'll see that you're sent to a PDF form. Now, that PDF form is an online claiming agreement form with Medicare. And that's the form that Medicare needs to receive to know that you're processing through Halaxy. So we pre-populate it for you where we can. So you'll find your CLK number is actually within the form once you click it. But the other information you'll need to add are things like your provider number, your name, your identifying details for Medicare, and then also the bank account where you'd like your funds to be deposited. Now, if you're in a practice where you have a number of practitioners and you would prefer and you'd like to have all of the income from your consultations appearing in the one bank account, you can apply yourself as the practice lead for this form here. And then what you can also do is if you search in our help guide in the question mark here, you can search for online claiming with Medicare. And there's an additional form that we link to in our help guide where you can actually associate a number of your practitioners at once on the one form with your bank account. The alternative is that you could have an individual form per practitioner. You could fill them out and just make sure that the bank account details are the same across all of the forms that you send. So there's a couple of options. The simplest way in some ways is filling out the form here per practitioner and just making sure the bank account details that you're directing Medicare to process in are correct, are the same, consistent. And the alternative is that you can, let's say if you ran a practice with 10 practitioners and you wanted them all to be on one form with the bank account details associated, the same bank account details associated, well then you could look at our help guide for online claiming and see the larger form there. Fantastic. So Nicole, we got a question from you. So the address is incorrect. It's the first location that you used when you signed up with Halaxy, which is now a closed location. Where do you change that? So the question that you have there essentially is associated with the provider number that Medicare uses. So if you've changed your location, that means that your provider number is likely different. And if it is different, you'll need to submit an additional form to Medicare, just updating them that your location has changed. So your provider number that's associated with your CLK number just here is now different. So that's what you'll need to do in that instance. And that's absolutely fine because what Halaxy is simplifying for a lot of practices and practitioners is that traditionally what Medicare has required is a different, and they still do, a different provider number per location. But you only have one CLK number, one Medicare ID. It's the same thing. They also refer to it, Medicare can also refer to your Medicare ID as a location ID or a minor ID. So it can get confusing in terminology, but just have the confidence that when you see Medicare ID anywhere or minor ID or location ID, they're all the same thing. It means exactly the same thing, and it's this number here. It's within your Halaxy account. And that number doesn't change. It's independent of the locations. But what you need to keep in mind is you need to make sure that your provider numbers, if they're across different locations, are associated with this same CLK number. So you want different provider numbers to be for yourself to be associated with the one CLK number, the Medicare ID there. So hopefully that's helped you a little bit there, giving you a bit of confidence. In terms of another question from Lisa has been, once you've submitted the form to Medicare claiming, do you get feedback or a letter? Really good question. Unfortunately, no. So Medicare doesn't notify Halaxy, and they don't notify you either when your online agreement form that you can click here has been processed. So what we recommend doing is so Medicare takes between 3 to 5 business days usually to process the form. Because you don't get notified, what you can try to do is actually process a Medicare payment within your Halaxy account after 3 days. And then if it's after 5 days and it hasn't been processed, or you can't process any claims, that means that there's likely something wrong with the form, and that's the time to contact Medicare to work out what's going on and why they haven't been able to process your form. So unfortunately, they don't notify you. But Lisa, thank you for that question, because that's a really important point, and gives you the confidence as you go through to understanding how to actually go about best processing or best activating your ability to claim through Halaxy. Fantastic. So now what I'll do is that's how you can get set up with Medicare. It's essentially one form. It's the form just here to the right of your CLK number, and just make sure that that's completed as best as possible. And if you have any questions around that, you can always contact us as well, and we're always happy to help. So we're offering support as always, 5 days a week for 18 hours each day as well. So you can contact us almost at any hour, and we can talk you through resolving any issues you may have as well. But the first course of action is filling out this form. And if there's any challenges, if you can't process a claim, once you see how to process one, we'll walk you through today. If you're unable to process a claim, the next port of call is Medicare directly. And then from there, contact us if Medicare has any issues or challenges. Suzanne, you've just asked as well, we just had a question from Suzanne, that you've completed these Medicare/Medipass forms within another medical database before transferring to Halaxy. So are you still registered, or do you have to submit the forms through Halaxy? So what you'll need to do is you'll need to register again using your CLK number, which is your minor ID, your Medicare ID/location ID, because that's your unique reference to Halaxy. So just like how Medicare is knows which location you're consulting from through your provider number, it also knows which software you're using through your Medicare ID number, which is this number here. So you will need to submit the forms again, but it's relatively quick, between 3 to 5 business days, and you can always claim after you've been approved as well. So if you're seeing patients or clients prior to being approved, once you are approved, you can process those claims directly through Halaxy, even if they occurred a few days prior. So that's how you can get set up, and that's the best way to get set up. So it's by going through this form here, and just make sure that you've entered the details. You just go through each step and make sure that you've included your relevant provider number and the account that you'd like to be paid in. What I'll talk about in a little bit as well is if you are a practice where you're accepting payment in the one bank account on behalf of multiple practitioners, there's one extra step where it's in terms of how you actually set up your funder. So you would set up your payee provider number as well, in addition to the practitioners and your practitioners' individual provider numbers. So I'll walk through that as we actually start demonstrating how you can process in claims, which we'll do right now. So thank you for your questions so far. And as you can see, we're answering them through the Q&A section too. So fantastic that everyone's engaged. So let's actually get into the meat of what today's webinar is about, which is about processing Medicare claims. So let's set up a Medicare claim. I'll go into the calendar, navigate to the familiar Halaxy calendar here. And just a quick tip, you can also access your calendar anytime by clicking the Halaxy logo on the top left. So we could click the Halaxy logo just up here, and you would navigate directly to your calendar. Instead of having to go through schedule calendar, you can just click the Halaxy logo, if that helps anybody. All right, so let's say we have a consultation set up at this time here, and we're going to add a patient for a Medicare consultation. I'm going to import a Medicare fee. So I can see there's Medicare 3, professional attendance at consulting rooms. Fantastic. And click Save. Now, I'll show you the simple way through first in terms of getting to processing the claim, and then we'll dive more into the detail as to what's going on in the background regarding funders and fees, but I'll lightly touch on that, but the majority of this webinar is focused on the actual processing component for Medicare claims. So let's save that appointment. So that appointment's now saved. And in this appointment, as we saw, the patient I added, so I imported the patient through Halaxy. If you're unsure as to how to create patients or import them, I recommend searching our help guide in the top right here, or having a go just by creating an appointment and start typing in a patient's name, and you'll see you can also add the patient in directly from appointment creation. We can see that we've added the fee, which is a Medicare fee, and it's the fee item code is here, and the fee description is listed here with the total amount. We can also see that there's a Medicare claim section and a Medicare card number that's appeared on this appointment type and under appointment information. Now, this is an area where you can add the Medicare card number for your patient or your client directly within the appointment information window, and you can click the edit icon. So I'll just cancel out of this. You can click the edit icon here. As you can see, it's a little pencil to the right of the Medicare card number section. And if you haven't added in your patient's Medicare card number previously, you can click this and you can do it straight away within your appointment screen without having to leave it. I'll show us a little bit later on how you can also do that from the patient screen. And you can edit things afterwards as well, either directly within an appointment window like here, or you can do it within your patient's profile screen, which I'll demonstrate later on. Worth bearing in mind that you can add claimant details too. So you can add in the claimant information here. So if there's a guardian or a parent that's receiving money on behalf of a child or a person who's underage, then you can enter in that parent or guardian's Medicare card number and the individual reference number and expiry date details as well. So for this particular patient, we already have their Medicare card number listed here, and we're going to go and have a look at the invoice. You'll see there's also an ad referral section. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. But let's go straight to the invoice now, and we'll process that first Medicare claim. Fantastic. So let's go to this Medicare claim. We've now here, hopefully everyone can see that. And you can see that the practitioner details are listed up the top. We then have the practitioner name, the clinic address, location, and then there's the identification section. And we'll see provider number is listed here. And this is the practitioner who's claiming the Medicare claim or has seen the patient or client. This is their provider number. So this is your provider number when you're seeing your you're seeing your patients. This is your provider number that's listed here. What we'll see in a little bit is how you can also display your payee provider number under the same section, which allows the funds to go to one particular account as opposed to an individual practitioner account. But for this purpose right now, this is where the provider number is listed. Now, if that's blank for you after you've included a Medicare fee, so you want to make sure you've included a Medicare fee, but if you have included a Medicare fee from our global fees database, which essentially means you begin typing in your Medicare fee under the fees list and in appointments, in the appointment calendar, and you see it and you select it, you then have imported from Halaxy's global fee database, which means you're provided with updated Medicare fees and rebates as to the current fee and rebate immediately. So you can import that. If you've done that, or you've created your Medicare funder correctly, you'll then see this invoice looking like this, and the provider number, if you haven't added it before, you can then click the edit icon here, and you can actually add in your provider number directly onto the invoice. And like a lot of things in Halaxy, once you've entered it once, you won't have to enter that number again. So that's the great benefit as well, that once you've actually included your Medicare card number against, say, a particular location like this is here, that then means that when you then create another Medicare invoice for other patients or clients, your provider number is then automatically pulled through. So once you've entered it once, that's all you need to do. So let's now look to the right here under patient details, and you'll see that we have the patient information at the top and their Medicare claim information here, which is the same information we saw in the appointment window just earlier. Now, this information you can edit just like we could in the appointment window by clicking the edit icon, and it's the same information box that appears. I just clicked add claimant just to show you how it is the same. I'll cancel out of that. And you can also add referral information. So just like how you saw the button to add referral information in the calendar, it's exactly the same here as well. So if you've added information in against the patient's profile in the calendar appointment, it will appear here within this screen, this section. If you've added the claim information against the patient's profile or within the patient's profile, it will appear here within their claim section as well. And thirdly, if you've entered it in here, naturally, it will appear within this invoice section too. And that's important because without this information, you're unable to actually process your Medicare claim because Medicare won't know who the claim is associated with, and also if it's a patient rebate, where Medicare is meant to be reimbursing, who Medicare is meant to be reimbursing, I should say. So that's just important to note that you need to make sure that the Medicare claim information is correct. I'll show you in a moment how you can actually check that through the Halaxy account as well. But let's get to processing a claim. So we're in the invoice. We have the Medicare details here. We now know that our identification information's, we've entered that in. We've entered in the patient details, the Medicare card number. Let's get to processing the claim. And it's as simple as clicking process bulk bill, or if we accepted full payment for this appointment, we'd click mark as paid and then process rebate. Now, let's have a look. Let's say we're taking, I'll show you both instances here of bulk bill and process, accepting a bulk bill and process rebate. So let's say this appointment, we're charging it at the same Medicare amount, which in this instance is $16.95. We're not adding any amount larger than that. So we're going to process this as a bulk bill. We're going to be reimbursed directly from Medicare in full. And as you can see here, there's a few options. Now, don't be put off by these options. They're only options, and it means that you can accept payment a number of ways. That's why there's a few options that appear here. You don't need to click all of them. You don't need to click a few of them. You can just select which is most appropriate for your situation. So what this means is process now is you could accept credit card payments directly from your patients or clients through the click of this button here. And that's helpful for things like patient rebates, or it's helpful if you're not processing a Medicare claim, you can process it directly here. There's also an option to add in the Tyro terminal, so you can include a Tyro terminal in your practice, a physical terminal. This will then send the claim through to your Tyro terminal in one click. Or you could click mark as paid and accept payment in a number of ways. But today we're focused on Medicare payments, so we're going to click process bulk bill. So let's click that. Okay, and we can see here is the claim. We're just going to ignore the no referral details at the moment, but that's a warning. So you can actually see, maybe I needed to add referral details to this claim, and we'll go to that in a moment. And you can also see here is the service date, the item number, the fee description, and also the declaration by the practitioner in relation to this fee. So if we're going to process this fee, what we'd attempt to do is we'd click process, and this is the area here. And then once you've done that, you've processed the claim, you've submitted the claim with Medicare. So I'll click close, and we'll see our invoice now has updated. So immediately those payment options that we all saw before have now disappeared. And we can see under the payments line, the payment method was online bulk bill. There's also a time associated from the time that you sent, the status as to the status of your claim, and you have options here as to get report and view statement. Now, the status is important. So what you'll see for your bulk bill claims particularly are that you'll have a status of submitted. This submitted claim will stay as that until Medicare has processed your Medicare claim, and it usually takes under 24 hours. They've processed, till the next day. So they've processed your Medicare. When they process your Medicare claim, this will then change. The status changes to successful. And we had an administrator earlier who mentioned that they're looking to understand how to use Halaxy to reconcile Medicare payments. And we'll go into reports towards the end of this webinar. Just bear in mind the status section, because that's important when we come to reporting and also reviewing whether a payment has been made. So as we can see, it's submitted at the moment. This will take probably overnight to successfully process, and that's why your invoice status is set as pending as well. Once this claim has been processed, once Medicare notifies you through your Halaxy account, and the way they do that, the way Medicare does that is it updates the invoice information to paid once the payment has been sent. Your Halaxy invoice, Medicare invoice, will automatically update to paid as well. So there's no further steps from clicking process bulk bill. If it's a bulk bill, I'll talk through patient rebates immediately after this. But if you're processing a bulk bill, you just click process bulk bill and go through those 1 or 2 steps in the window that appeared. And then from there, your Medicare claim is processed. Now, there's other functionality. Once you're comfortable with that within your Halaxy account, you can do batch processing. You can process multiple claims at once. And you can also automate your Medicare claims processing at a certain time during the day as well. I recommend for that further information, I may touch on this webinar, but if you'd like to know more, once you're comfortable with processing individual claims and you'd like to get more out of your practice and begin automating your Medicare claims, to click this question mark at the top here, and you can navigate to Halaxy's help guide. And from here, if you look for a Medicare online claiming, you'll be able to see how you can actually get even more out of your Medicare account, your Halaxy account, by automating Medicare claims. I'll just highlight as well that when you're processing and when you process Medicare claims through Halaxy, as you can see, it's an automated process. A lot of it is taken care of for you. There is a cost of when you are processing through Halaxy. Just be aware of that. So you know that when you're actually processing your claims, that there is a charge, and that charge is pretty low cost. It's pretty straightforward. It's 1 Halaxy credit. So if you don't have any Halaxy credits, you'll just need to have a handful of Halaxy credits, and every time you process a Medicare claim, it's just 1 Halaxy credit. Now, how much do Halaxy credits cost? Well, they vary depending on how many you purchase at once. So we offer volume discounts for the more you buy. The most expensive form of Halaxy credit is 22 cents. So at most, in terms of what you're processing through your Medicare invoices, if you process through Halaxy, they will cost you 22 cents. And if you buy in bulk, so if you buy a larger amount of Halaxy credits, then the lowest charge is 15 cents per transaction. So per time that you process, you'll see that it's 15 cents. So hopefully that helps clarify in terms of the charges, but that's all your charge. And like a lot of things in Halaxy, what we try to do is we don't try to complicate things too much with large subscription fees and charges that you're getting charged for when you don't use the product. You're getting charged when you actually are receiving payment from Medicare. So it's not so you can be confident knowing that if you haven't processed any Medicare claims, you're not going to be charged anything for using the or being signed up to the Medicare function. That's just there ready for you when you need it. And you're only charged as well, I'll clarify, when the Medicare transaction has been successful. So you can have the confidence knowing that when you do process your Medicare claims, the charge is only occurred when it's a successful charge. Now, you are charged when it is submitted, but if your status comes back within your Halaxy invoice that it was unsuccessful, then we reimburse you for that credit that it took to attempt to process your claim. So have the confidence knowing that only being charged when you're receiving money, when you're processing your Medicare claims through Halaxy. Fantastic. So now I did mention we're going to look through processing patient rebates. So it would be remiss of me not to do that. So let's do it. Let's create another appointment. So second appointment here. Here we go. And I'm going to add in the Medicare claim. I'm importing from our global fees database. I'm clicking this option here, Medicare fee 23 in this case. Let's click save. Brilliant. Okay, and we can see the color is different because the fee is different. So the fees within your Halaxy calendar are determined, the colors within your Halaxy appointments in your calendar are determined by your Halaxy fee types. And you can change your fee colors by navigating to finances and then clicking fees and selecting the relevant fee. So just know that you can update your colors if you like, but that's why this one is green here. Now, let's navigate to the invoice because we've added the Medicare fee. And we're going to actually process this as a patient rebate. Now, given that it's a patient rebate, we probably want the total to be larger. It's probably going to be larger than what the actual Medicare bulk bill rebate amount is. So at the moment, it's the same. So I'm just going to update it on this particular invoice. So I'm clicking, I'll just navigate, out of this. I'm clicking the edit icon to the right of the fees and charges line. So we'll see here is the fee, item code 23, Medicare short consultation. I want to increase that fee amount, so I'm clicking the edit icon. Under actions, this window now appears where we can edit the invoice line and we can adjust the amount. Now, I'm doing this as a once off, but if you're looking to have an amount that's greater than your Medicare rebates going forwards and consistently going forwards, then I recommend navigating to your finances section, then to fees, and go into that particular fee and change the total amount here. Keep the rebate as is because that's the rebate that Medicare is reimbursing you or your patients or clients for, but the amount is what we're changing in this instance. So I'm going to change this amount to $85. That is as is, and click save. Fantastic. So now we're in an instance here. We have an instance where the total is $85, as we can see under the fees and charges section. And if I scroll down, we can see the potential patient rebate amount is $36.30. So there's naturally a difference. And in accordance with what Medicare directs is we'll accept full payment for this appointment first. So we can accept full payment under the payments line, and then we can process the patient, or then we will process the patient rebate for the patient themselves or the client or your client. So let's say we've accepted full payment, and we can accept full payment either through credit card, either through the Tyro terminal, or by marking it as paid. So we've accepted payment, say, outside of Halaxy, through another type of terminal, or it could even be cash. So I'm going to click mark as paid because we're accepting the patient's payment in full first. And you'll see you have number of options here in terms of the form of payment. So this is just manual. This is payment that's been received outside of your Halaxy account, but you can actually identify how it was received. I'm going to say it was received as cash and click save. Now we'll see that the invoice, if we navigate up to the top of it, is paid in full. So that's fantastic. So we know that we've been paid. But the final step is we want to make sure that our patient has been reimbursed. So we need to process the rebate. And just like the bulk bill option, I'm going to click process rebate here. Then I'm going to attempt to process this claim. So let's click process here. And then what we'll see at the moment is this Medicare claim is unsuccessful. And we're provided with a prompt. So what Halaxy helps with is, as much as possible, Medicare only provides a limited amount of information back to us when claims are initially unsuccessful. So they'll provide a response, which we show here in grey, but we also try to do our best to provide extra detail. And we can see that the response that Halaxy is giving us right now is that a new Medicare card may have been issued to the patient, which may have not been updated on their Halaxy records. All the details that we've entered do not match those held by Medicare. So that means we need to actually check, we need to verify whether our patient's Medicare card is valid. And I'll take us through that step just after this final point that I'd like to make, which is when you're presented with a prompt like this, you may also see that there's the Medicare response and a number associated with it. So when you see that there's a number associated with it, and if you're still unclear as to what the steps are to go forward with solving this problem, you can search in our help guide, which is that question mark in the top right of screen, the light blue question mark, And what I recommend doing is search for the number. So you can type in 9605 and you'll actually see the help article that's associated with that error code. And that will provide you with greater information as to how to navigate that error. So this error that we've seen here is like the likely cause is either we've entered the details completely wrong, the Medicare details, or our patient actually has an updated Medicare card since we last entered their information. So I'm going to exit out of this screen and we're going to check our patient's Medicare card number directly within Halaxy. So I'm going to exit out of here. I'll cancel out of this, scroll back up the invoice and go directly into our patient's general profile. So let's click our patient's name in the invoice. So I've clicked the patient's name in the invoice. We've now navigated to our patient's general profile. I'm going to select the funding tab. So let's select the funding tab because this is to do with Medicare claiming information, funding information. Clicking that here. And we can see that our patient has a Medicare claim section. And any time that you associate a Medicare fee with your patients or clients, they will automatically receive, or this option will automatically appear within their funding tab. So within your patient or client's funding tab, within their general patient profile, you'll see under the funding tab, you'll then see a Medicare option appears here. So from here, we click the Medicare title so we can expand it and we can see this is the same number we had in the invoice. Now, again, you can edit the number through here. So this is the final way of editing the Medicare claim information, and you can also add claimant details like we saw before. So this is the section I recommend. You can click the edit icon, it's the pencil icon just there, and it's under the funding tab within the patient's general profile page. You can click the edit icon when you want to update card details. You don't have an invoice to refer to in an appointment. This is the way to do it. You can go directly into the patient's funding tab and change the information here. You can also associate any files with their claim, files associated with their claim here by adding files. So if you have referral documents and scannable documents you'd like to have on record within your Halaxy, you can actually include it directly with the claim for your records by clicking add files. And there's also the option to add referral as well, which I'll get to in a little bit. But right now we're focused on verifying this card number. Now, Halaxy makes it really easy to verify your Medicare patients and clients' card numbers. And all you have to do is click this circle icon just to the left of the Medicare card number that you've added. So let's click the circle icon. And from here, we can see, and you'll see there's an online patient verification box that appears. And what this online patient verification is telling us is that, one, it was successful. So it's successfully been able to match details for our patient with Medicare. But what it's identified is the Medicare card number that we have on record, which is the current one on record, ends in a 1, and the new Medicare card number actually ends in 2. So how do we update that? Well, in Halaxy, we make it easy. You can just click update. So if we click update now, we can see that that claim is now being updated, and you'll see the number, if I expand this again, has now updated. So we can now go through with processing that patient rebate. And what I recommend is when you do add in your Medicare information on behalf of your clients and patients, that you do navigate to their funding page. So you navigate through their name in the calendar or just by looking through the patient list for their name, click funding, and just verify their Medicare claim number here. So, or their Medicare card number. That way you can have the confidence that that's one issue that won't occur for you, at least in the immediate future until they change cards. But that's best practice is just to do that up front at first. And then from there, it makes it easier as well in terms of identifying any other types of issues that you might be experiencing. So we've also, and I'll just see, Tanya, there's a question that you've raised, where's the best place to set the Medicare provider number for different locations? And will Halaxy automatically know by the appointment details which provider number to use? I'm nervous about my invoices having the right provider number on them. Yes, Tanya. So, sorry, that was me quoted from you, not that I've noticed. So, Tanya, as Gary's just replied now, and he's provided a helpful help guide article too. The great thing about Halaxy is that you can have different different locations, and Halaxy automatically automates your provider number details to make sure they're relevant to the location. So don't be nervous about it. Halaxy handles every scenario like that, and actually I'll highlight that after we've processed this, how you can adjust your provider number details for different locations after we've processed this patient rebate. So we've updated our patient's information. Let's go back to their invoice. So I'll navigate to the calendar by clicking the Halaxy logo. Scroll up to their appointment. I'm going to click the invoice here. We're now back on the invoice for our patient. This is the invoice where we accepted payment in full from our patient, but we are yet to process the online rebate claim, and we can see that here on status not processed. And let's click process rebate. So we'll try and process that rebate again. And this is the screen where we saw the error code. So Halaxy helped us out initially, but we're going to click process rebate. And now we can see that the claim has been assessed and it's been processed for our patient or client. So we can now click close. We'll see the invoice updates and the status is now complete. So it's as simple as clicking accepting full payment and then clicking process rebate within your Halaxy invoice. And that's how you can process your Medicare claims on an invoice by invoice basis. Remembering that you can automate your processing to process in batches at the end of every day at a time that you set as well. I won't go into that detail tonight or today, but I recommend having a look at batch processing by clicking the question mark here. But first, just be comfortable with processing individual claims. Then you'll know that your Medicare processing is working as expected. Bearing in mind that patient rebates, you'll receive a status of completed straight away, whereas in bulk bill claims, they are processed overnight by Medicare. Now, Tanya, to your question about identifications for different locations, I'll go to that point next. Then what I'll do is I'll discuss the different ways that you can actually assess your Medicare claims and payments through reports. And then if we have a moment, I'll just give a brief overview as to how do we troubleshoot in relation to incorrect claims and what the best process is to follow with correcting claims that were submitted incorrectly with Medicare, whether they be bulk bill or patient rebate. So what we've gone through now is how to process bulk bill claims and patient rebates. I'll now go through to showing you how you can update your identification details, and then we'll dive into reports. So to update your provider number identification information, which is essentially your provider numbers, just click finances, then fees. Once you click finances, fees in the menu, you'll see there's an identifications tab. Click the identifications tab. So under finances fees, you'll see there's identifications. Just click that. And here we can see our practitioner, Cliff Amanda, and you can select different practitioners from the top right drop-down list. So if you're an administrator or a bookkeeper, you can also update details by clicking the practitioner option and selecting the correct practitioner you'd like to update. But here we can see there's two locations. So we have the Halaxy Clinic in Melbourne and the Sunbury Clinic in Sunbury. But we've only listed the provider number for Medicare under the Melbourne Clinic. We don't have it listed for the Sunbury Clinic. So if we were operating as a practitioner, or if any one of our practitioners is operating from a clinic, we would select their name, in this case, Cliff Amanda, which is this page here, and we would update their provider number to be specific to each location. Now, when you add an appointment in the calendar and you select, and we're selecting in this case the Melbourne Clinic, the Halaxy Clinic, it will pull through this provider number here. If we created an appointment that was located at the Sunbury Clinic, it would pull through a blank provider number. There's no provider number listed here. So if we want it to pull through a provider number, all we have to do is we click edit. We can also do this in the invoice as well. So when you see it blank, when you update that information, it's associated with just that location. So don't be concerned that you're updating it for other locations, but if you want to be extra clear, you can do so within this screen under Finances, Fees, Identifications. So we want to update the Sunbury Clinic. Let's click Edit. And we could actually add in our Medicare provider number. As we can see here, Medicare provider number here. And this could be any type of whatever our Medicare provider number is. And we click Save. And now when we add a Medicare appointment that's listed at the Sunbury Clinic, this provider number will appear. So that's how you can make sure that different provider numbers will appear for different locations. And it's all automated for you. Once it's entered in here, it's all taken care of for you within your Halaxy account. It's been great seeing all the questions come through as well. And us as a team, we've been busy answering them and providing links to the help guide. So I hope that's assisted with that as well. Let's look at reports while we have an opportunity to. So what you'll see is with Medicare and with Halaxy, what the product helps with largely as well is not only can you process your claims simply, you can also have simple reporting for your claims, because when you do process through Halaxy, you can track your successful claims, your unsuccessful claims, and you can see when that money is being paid, when it's been processed, and when the processing's occurred. The other advantage of it is that when you do have unsuccessful claims, for the large part, you can actually click resubmit and reprocess those claims. So what you'll see here under reporting is finance and Medicare. Now, let's navigate to finance first, because there's a couple of reports in finances where you can actually get a lot of use out of understanding where your practice is at with Medicare claiming. So we're under reports finance. I'm going to select new report here. We'll click report type. So under report type, I'll select, there's a couple of options that will be presented to you relating to Medicare. And you'll see that you have an option for Medicare claims or unprocessed Medicare. Now, if you'd like to get an overview as to all of your Medicare claims, you can select Medicare claims. And if you'd like to see those claims that haven't been processed yet, so you're doing a cleanup, you can click unprocessed Medicare. And by clicking this, you actually have the option to process your claims within the report as well. I'll show you that in a moment, but we'll first go to Medicare claims, because I like to show you the different types of filters that you can apply depending on the type of information you'd like to receive about your Halaxy practice and claiming through Medicare. So let's click Medicare claims. We now see that our filters have updated because they're relevant to this Medicare claim report. You can select certain payment dates. Don't need to. None of these filters you need to apply, but they're helpful if you are looking for narrowing in on the information you're looking for. So we could change the payment date. We could say we'd like to know what's occurring between, say, the 1st of May up to the 29th of July. You can also select your practitioners if you'd like. You don't need to. You can leave that blank as well. We'll leave it blank for now, but you can select multiple practitioners here, just like that. So it's only relating to those practitioners. You can also select particular locations to identify what Medicare claims have been made through different locations. We could narrow in on different patients if you search for patients. And also the type of claim that that's taken place as well. So if you're processing bulk bill, patient rebate, DVA, or Medipass through here, and the status of the claim. So I think particularly for bookkeepers and administrators, and practice owners, this is probably the most helpful one, is the status. So you could actually narrow in on identifying, well, where are our successful Medicare claims? Where have they been? What invoices are they associated with? But you can also then determine, well, what are the ones we're expecting payment on, so submitted or pending? Where are the ones that failed or cancelled or incomplete? And these areas particularly, you can select multiple ones. So we could say cancelled, failed, and incomplete. And you could review all of those invoices within your report in one go as well. I'll just leave that blank for now because I want to run this report and we'll see what appears here. Fantastic. So as you can see in this report, what you're linked to is essentially you have the invoice number. So the invoice number is here, and you can go directly to your invoice by clicking that link. You can see the claim date. You can see the status of the claim. So here we have a mixture of cancelled claims, failed claims, and we can see the code that we saw before. We can see deleted claims. There was a claim that was submitted, there was one that was failed, and there was one that was successful. So immediately you have an overview as to what's going on with your claims. Naturally, you shouldn't be seeing all of these this often. Most of your claims should be submitted and they should be successful, but this is us showing you different options. And you can also track your credit usage as well. So you can see where the credits have been applied and where they haven't been applied. So that's a really helpful report. The Medicare Claims Report is probably the most powerful report. It is the most powerful report for Medicare claims because it gives you so many different ways as to how you can review the information within your Halaxy account. If you'd like to edit your report after you've generated it, you can do that without having to click a new report by clicking the pencil icon in the top right. And here you can see that you can actually update your filter details here. So I'll cancel out of that and we'll leave that as is. You can always save your filters if you click the save option as well. Let's now navigate back to finances. So reports, finances. We'll click new report. And now we'll select unprocessed Medicare for those appointments that have been attended. So let's click run. Here we go. And now you can see all of the invoices that have yet to be processed are listed in your report. I'm just scrolling down. And immediately you can actually click process the report. You can process the invoice from directly within the report. So we could process this bulk bill, we can process this DBA, we can process this patient rebate from within the report. The other option that's available is we could select all. You could click process all. And if we scroll down, you can also process selected. So if we wanted to process everything but this one invoice here, we could click process selected. So that's a really quick way where you can also process your Medicare claims by using the power of reports. Do remember as well, you can always export your report details and information by clicking the export icon up here. So if you want to receive this information in CSV format or in an Excel format or any other type of spreadsheet format, you just click export, which is the arrow pointing outside of the box just to the left of the print icon, and you can export that information. So if you're a bookkeeper and you like to look into that information in more detail, you can do that as well. I can see we've had lots of questions today, and hopefully we've been able to answer most of those questions throughout as well. I did mention we'll look at the Medicare section, so let's have a look at that. So the Medicare report. So let's click Reports, Medicare. And these are your batch reports. So when Medicare is processing your payments over the course of a day, let's say if you processed a number of bulk bills, I'll click this report here, you can actually see the total amount. So this is how you can reconcile amounts that have been received from Medicare in your bank account or in your practice bank account with the particular invoices that were processed. So these are the batch payment reports received from Medicare, linking the total payment for all the appointments that you've seen over the course of a day with the invoices, the specific invoices that were processed by Medicare. So this is a really helpful account, a really helpful report, and something that's super helpful when you're reconciling those bulk payments you've received from Medicare for each particular invoice each day. So for bookkeepers and administrators, that's a really helpful report to have. I did mention that we'll talk and we'll touch on resubmitting claims and resetting claims. And what I'll do is I'll quickly show us now in the calendar. We'll navigate to a particular claim. So I'll go to that patient rebate in the invoice. We'll go to the invoice here. And what you'll see under the patient rebate invoice is there's an option to delete a claim. You also will see there's an option under bulk bills. There's not an option under bulk bills, but you'll see there's a different thing that appears under the bulk bill section. Now, for patient rebates, you can cancel your patient rebates on the same day. So provided that it's on the same day, and ideally as soon as you've realized a mistake, you click delete, what you can do is you can cancel the rebate. So you can select the option as to why, and we could say, well, we had incorrect patient selection here. We click submit. And by clicking the delete option, we've now actually reset our invoice for the patient rebate. So we could resubmit that claim, or we could edit the invoice itself. So if the payment was incorrect, the total payment as well was incorrect, we can delete that by clicking the delete icon and clicking submit and delete the payment. And we'll see we've now reset this patient rebate invoice. So that's how you can reset patient rebates. The important thing to keep in mind for bulk bill claims is that you have to call Medicare. So you have to call Medicare because it's been submitted to Medicare and it's in Medicare's hands. Patient rebates, you have an opportunity in the space of the day to cancel it, as we just saw. But for bulk bill claims, you have to call Medicare because it's immediately with them for processing. Now, they do usually process overnight, and there is an opportunity, there's an option where you can reset your bulk bill claim within Halaxy, but you're unable to do that until Medicare has given you the okay. So the first step is when you have a bulk bill claim, and it's been submitted incorrectly, call Medicare immediately. Identify to them your information. So what I'll do is I'll show you the information you want to provide to Medicare. Once Medicare then gives you the okay, I'm just navigating to the bulk bill invoice here. Once Medicare gives you the okay to reset your claim, what we recommend is reviewing the help guide in the top right, search for resubmitting bulk bill Medicare claim. That's resubmitting bulk bill Medicare claim. Have a read of our article and give us a call and we can talk you through it as well. Or send us an email at community@halaxy.com. So we're here to help in that instance. It's a lot rarer, so I'm not going to go through it right now because it requires contacting Medicare and resubmitting. But the information that you'd want to identify to Medicare can be identified by clicking the view statement option within your invoice, within the bulk bill invoice that was submitted incorrectly. And you want to identify to Medicare this information that appears here, and particularly your claim reference number. So this is the claim reference number that Medicare will be asking you for, and any other associated information is listed under this online claiming statement. You can always print off the statement if you need to as well, but that's how you can resubmit your bulk bills, by providing this information, particularly here. So I hope that today we've walked through the majority of questions and we've been able to answer a large number of questions that everyone's had today. Thank you so much for engaging everybody throughout the webinar. We did have a question from Karen. So Karen, you've asked, I'm not sure whether we've talked about DVA. Karen, you can process most claims through DVA. DVA has two different streams of claiming. And one of those is handled by Halaxy. So if you find that there are any challenges with DVA claiming, usually that's because you're unable to claim through that particular DVA stream for that particular fee, but most of them do work, and the best thing to do is to give it a go and to try. But hopefully, thank you, Anwen, thank you, Tanya. Hopefully that's essentially given you confidence that you can process Medicare claims through your Halaxy account. And you can process bulk bill, you can process patient rebates, you can automate your processing every day as well. You can receive your payments directly within your Halaxy, directly within your bank accounts by setting your Halaxy up correctly. You can process Medicare claims across different locations automatically as well, because those details are pulled through for you. And you can also review any number of Medicare claims through your Medicare reports within Halaxy. Thank you very much, everybody, for your participation. It's been an absolute pleasure today to walk you through it. This is a big topic, and I'm sure we're going to have more webinars going forwards on particular areas here. So please reach out to us if you want to hear more on a particular subject or an area. We're largely driven by what you want to see and what you want to learn more about. So be in touch with us at community@halaxy.com. That's community@halaxy.com. And we're very, very much looking forward to hearing more about what you want to hear and see. And we're also looking at providing more of these webinars more regularly as well. So any of the previous webinars that we've currently run, you'll be able to access in an easier way going forwards too. So thank you to Nicole, thank you Suzanne, thank you Tanya, thank you everybody, thank you Simone, Christina, Ruth, Doria, Tanya, everybody for participating today. And we wish you all the best using Halaxy going forwards and for your Medicare claiming as well. Thank you, Maureen. That's very kind of you, and Tia. Okay, we'll end the webinar there. Thank you.